Welcome to Between the Shelves. I am super excited for this episode today because we are going to be talking about Star Wars. So I brought three of the biggest Star Wars fans on staff in today. I'm joined this episode by Christina.
Hello.
Chuck.
Hello there.
And our assistant director, Tim.
Hello.
Welcome all of you. I don't know about you, but I've been looking forward to this episode for a long time. I've done a lot of research. I have 4 pages of notes right next to me that I probably won't even look at during this
Research?
episode. Research, meaning I've watched Star Wars movies. And took notes. So, in this episode, what we're going to do is we are going to rank every Star Wars movie and show. We're going to put them in a tier list from best to worst. And because it's Star Wars and because I'm a nerd, I made special tiers for Star Wars, which I'm going to unveil to my guests here right now.
It's like brackets?
Yes.
Ooh.
So a normal tier list, you have A, B, C, D, E, F, and S tier for the best. But because this is Star Wars, we're doing it a little bit differently. Our top best tier, S tier, is called Jedi Master.
Naturally.
Then the one beneath that is Wizard, which is a reference for an episode 1 deep cut reference, which maybe everyone in this room doesn't even get. That's fine.
I do.
We got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So B tier is Bombad. C tier is mid-chlorian. D tier is scruffy looking. E tier is Bantha Poodoo. And F tier is piece of Sith.
Okay.
All right. Are we clear?
We're cleared. I don't know if anyone else.
We'll post this picture to our social media or something so you can see our ranking when we're done.
Okay.
So we're going to be going through all the movies and shows, and we're going to be doing them by release date. Chronologically by release date, not chronologically through canon. Make sense?
Yes.
So we're going to be starting with episode 4, Star Wars, aka A New Hope. Now, I have a feeling this episode might run long, so should we just save time and just put this right into Jedi Master tier, or do we have to talk about it?
I think that's fair.
Yes. When I ranked mine, it wasn't first.
Okay, you put
But
them in
it
mind.
was
Yeah.
but it was, as close to first as possible.
Okay.
Like your overall favorites. in your
Overall
own
favorites,
personal-
yes, personally. But also I tried to think about it I didn't want to think about it too personally because then my rankings would actually be different. So just thinking of it kind of more critically, I feel like it's definitely Jedi Master.
Yeah. Okay, so we're in agreement?
Yes.
Christina? Okay. I am moving A New Hope to Jedi Master. All right, next up, The Empire Strikes Back, Episode 5. Many consider this the best Star Wars movie ever made. I agree. I think this is the best Star Wars movie ever made. I am ready to put it in the Jedi Master category, but I know we have one dissenter amongst us.
Christina has opinions.
I'm curious. I want to hear.
Twist.
Yeah.
I'm open to anything, even though I can control.
I understand why it's critically acclaimed. I just don't think it's a fun movie to watch. And I think that's different than literally all of the other Star Wars movies. Well, no. Some of them are not fun to watch, but we'll discuss that for other reasons.
Sure.
I just think it's a lot of exposition and I don't know. It just every time I watch it, I think it's a slog.
Yeah, it's darker than the other movies for sure, which is kind of why I do like it.
I would say maybe where you see it as a slog, those quieter moments are really character building moments. For me, I don't know if that's how because there is plenty of exposition moments in the prequels, which we'll get there, that I feel like were 95% slog exposition that's boring. But this is really just lots of characters interacting with each other in fun ways.
Do you have an example of what you would consider exposition in The Empire Strikes Back? I hate to put you on the spot, but...
No, it's okay. It's funny, I just rewatched them all of last week, and I didn't take notes about that.
What's your least favorite moments in those movies that turned you off?
The whole thing. Well, no, not the whole
whole
thing.
thing.
The whole thing. No. I do think that there's a lot of good characterization. The only thing that I have on my notes for Empire Strikes Back is that Yoda is an absolute menace.
Oh, I love how much of a
He's
jerk
just
he
like a
is.
little scamp the whole time.
Yeah.
And it feels like he's the only consistent characterization across the entire series. Like in every movie, he's out there just making trouble for everyone.
In the prequels too, though?
Well, he's making trouble in a different way, but like in Attack of the Clones, he's the one who sort of gives Obi-Wan permission to go check out his rogue planet.
All right, we got a lot of movies to talk about, so
There's a lot to unpack there.
I think we have to put this in Jedi Master.
That's fair.
Okay.
I knew I'm a lone dissenter.
All right, next is Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. I rewatched this last night, actually, because I had a feeling this is the weakest of the original trilogy. I rewatched it. I still love this movie. It is so much fun. It is definitely the weakest of the three. I still believe that. I had it in Jedi Master. I'm willing to hear an argument to put it in Wizard.
I actually did the same thing. I originally started with Jedi Master, and the more I thought about it, I brought it down to Wizard also.
Okay.
So,
Thoughts?
What do you think? How low is it going for you, Christina?
How low?
Yeah, because
I
feel like
love Return of the Jedi. Yeah, it's my favorite of the original.
So growing up, that was the one that I watched on repeat the most, and like I would sketch out scenes from like the battle scenes and stuff like that because I loved it so much. Again, critically though, I don't think it should be Jedi Master. I think it should be Wizard because it is kind of a dumb movie, but it's so much fun. It is. I really truly, it's one of my favorites. But like critically, I feel like it should be Wizard.
is dumb the right word for that?
I mean, it's
Not as well thought
really.
out. Is it the Ewoks? Let's just
I love
break the ice here.
I love Ewoks, but yeah, I mean, kind of like that's a big part of it. That's probably, but it's also like rehashing some stuff that we've already seen. Again, though, it is so much fun. I don't know. Maybe I'll shut up. Maybe it should be Jedi Master. I don't know.
Christina, would you be heartbroken if we moved this to Wizard? Because I have a feeling you're going to get your way coming up very soon, I think.
I am fine putting it in Wizard. I think that we are perhaps grading on different scales.
Yeah, it seems like Tim's looking a more critical viewpoint. I'm trying to walk the line a little bit. I'm trying to follow my heart, but having rewatched all of the movies recently, I kind of putting them in perspective a little bit from my critical point of view too. So what do we say? Wizard for this one or okay? Just to move it along because we got a lot of movies to cover here. Next up, 1999's Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Who wants to start on this one?
I'm going to be nice and say scruffy looking.
Wow. Okay, well, I'm going to counter that with Wizard. This is one of my favorite movies.
Wow.
This movie, I mean, if we're talking like from the heart, this movie is the most comfy Star Wars movie. Like, I'll put this on before almost any other
All right,
movie.
so I will say that when I said dumb really probably applies more to Phantom Menace and
That wounds me.
I was going to say maybe more Attack of the Clones.
but I would put it mid because I actually, when I ranked mine, I actually had it higher than I thought I would have it. It's like 5th on my list, so I would say mid-chlorian.
All right, Christina. Now this is what the episode's about. This is where we kick into gear. Do you want to start or should I?
I mean, I will just say that I would also like to put it in Wizard. But I would say this movie came out like 3 days before my 10th birthday, and I got to see it at midnight, and it was my first midnight movie, and I had seen all of the other ones in theaters leading up to it, and it was like a big event, and it was so cool. It's such a great movie for a 10-year-old.
I'm sure. Yeah. I'll put myself where, like, I'll age myself. It was 99, right, that this came out? So there's a huge year for movies. Like, some insanely great movies came out in 99. Yeah. This was, and I was just graduating high school. So for me, this and I think The Lost World, Jurassic Park 2, where this is the first time when I went to a movie and I said, wow, these movies are like not good. Like basically like being more critical about the movies that I'm seeing, like 10-year-old perspective, 100%. Like I completely understand. But then I think when you come at it but when you're in college, kind of everything is you're kind of bringing an attitude to everything.
You're very angsty and country.
Absolutely. So maybe that's just me bringing my own thing. I would say maybe somewhere in the middle then would be like this. Maybe this movie would rank. Was it Bombad?
Bombad is just under Wizard. That's the B tier.
Because we have Chuck that's scruffy looking. I'm kind of mid. You guys are Wizard.
Well, let me explain why I think it's Wizard. I think this has the best world building of almost any Star Wars. Like, this movie added more to the Star Wars canon than any other movie, period. I like the whole backstory with like the Trade Federation and the blockades and everything. That is awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. And it's great because it gives you so much to chew on after the movie. Like, you finish the movie and you're like, what was the deal with like that? And like, it gets you talking. And like, as somebody who grew up with watching the original movies, and then you go to watch this, it's like an adult version of that kids thing that you liked, where it gives you like multiple layers to talk about Star Wars. All right, Christina.
I will say that also as a girl watching Star Wars, The Phantom Menace was particularly great because of Padme. Like,
yes,
Leia is a main character in the original trilogy, but not necessarily in the same way that Padme is.
Princess in distress.
Yeah, but she's
I'm saying Leia.
Oh yeah, in A New Hope. Yes, the only thing that happens is we really rescue her. We get to see Padme out and about. We get to see all of the outfits. I had so many different like Padme dolls and different clothing. Like, it was a movie where a Star Wars where there was someone there that I could like relate to, and it wasn't just like a bunch of boys.
Best costumes of any Star Wars movie.
Music, Duel of the Fates.
Best music maybe of any Star Wars movie. Duel of the Fates, the ending song, plus the Star Wars march, and all of that stuff's in there too. I mean, this is a soundtrack you can just put on and get pumped.
I think you could do that for pretty much any Star Wars movie.
I think
even the sequels.
Well, I think that kind of is a testament to John Williams, but also the fact that for the whole Star Wars series, which I think he scored all 9, maybe, or maybe at least.
Yeah, he did everything.
Did he do the all?
Rise of Skywalker is supposed to be his last,
right?
Until they pay him a lot more.
I think he does. One thing that he does do is reuse. You know, I mean, it's thematical that he reuses a lot of his score, but I agree. Like, Duel of the Fates, great. That's the only track I really remember though from.
If you listen to it again, I bet there's a lot of it would jog your memory.
It's just more famous.
I mean, the pod race is amazing. I love the pod race. That's great. But I don't think. But that thing about the adult part, I don't get, because then you have one of the worst Star Wars characters ever, which is what's his face?
Jar Jar?
Jar Jar Binks. I mean, that's clear. That's like the most egregious kind of like kids. Here's a character for you kids that's as dumb as can be.
Well, I think Jar Jar Binks was supposed to be, this is an insane thought, like an equivalent to C-3PO. Like, they just needed like a little bit of comic relief in all of the scenes. And like, yeah, it's very exaggerated, but it's fun.
Not for everyone.
But there's an element
to a 10-year-old,
to every Star Wars.
To a 10-year-old, to a high school graduate,
or an adult
college,
now watching it.
Yeah.
I did not like Jar Jar Binks myself, but my mother was obsessed with Jar Jar Binks, and we had like so many Jar Jar Binks toys, because she would be like, "Here, have a Jar Jar Binks toy," and it's like, I don't want this. You want this. I don't need. And they would all of them. He had some kind of like retractable tongue.
But what about the dialogue?
The dialogue's a little wooden, but all of George Lucas's dialogue's wooden. I don't think you can say
Empire.
like the dialogue's great.
Empire is super quippy dialogue.
I think, and I don't.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, and also I think having Carrie Fisher on staff for those probably helped a lot with punching up the dialogue.
Right. I wouldn't say the dialogue is bad necessarily in the prequel trilogy, it's just utilitarian. Like, it's just like, okay, this is how I feel, and then let's get on with this plot, because there's so much plot in this movie. It's like, you kind of have to keep it moving the ball forward.
Speaking of which, so where do we rank this movie?
Yeah, thank you for bringing us back on track. I think Jedi Master really is where we settled, right?
Agreed.
I mean, you had it 5th on your list. You have to admit, there's a lot of elements of this movie that's good.
Again, that's why I think like maybe Bombad.
I don't think I can go lower than Bombad. I really don't think I can go lower.
Or Wizard. Oh, Chuck, you have a pretty.
Yeah, Chuck, you had it the lowest of all of us, but I haven't heard any criticism.
Yeah, what's your main?
I actually agree with everything you said before about world building, but there's so much going on in the movie that I think it's also very confusing. And there's a lot of stuff, like there's way too much material in the movie and they needed to simplify things. There's also no main character in The Phantom Menace. It's not Anakin, because he's not in the movie for 40 minutes. And I don't think it's Qui-Gon.
I know that's a super good point though, and it's something that I've heard before of the characters in all of the prequel trilogies. Trying to describe them without like just saying what they do, like what their actual character is like, is kind of difficult because yeah, exactly. And it's something that's like the characters to me are just hollow. They're just there to
same thing with Padme
move the plot along.
Same thing with Padme. I feel like compared to Leia, she's got a lot more. Leia's got a lot more personality, but Padme is just like more of a surface level thing. Which at 10 years old, she probably was fantastic, walking into every different room with a new outfit on and stuff like that. But
she, you know what, she did have a good personality in which was the one where she fights in that sand pit.
Attack of the Clones.
Yes, I think like there, her personality did come out more. Yeah. But I didn't.
And
really
it's all relative, really. Like she's only amazing because there are only so many women in Star Wars at that point that have really been. Too. There's not a lot to go off of.
Yeah.
But it seems to me more like the stuff you guys like about it. There are certain like elements of the movie that you like the pod racing and Padme's outfits and
there's
the world
virtually
building.
Nothing I don't like about this movie. I want to make that clear. Jar Jar may be the only exception.
So the story, though, you're content with. Even
Absolutely.
Though
I think it's one of the strongest
confusing.
of all of them. And it's not confusing. It was confusing for a 10-year-old, but rewatching it, I mean, it's
I don't think
it's still confusing.
It's confusing. I think that Star Wars, in all of them except A New Hope, does this thing where they just expect you to have a certain surface level knowledge of everything. And like, I think that's kind of fair. You're not necessarily going to watch Phantom Menace without having seen something else, or especially now where Star Wars is like part of our culture, like it's hard to say you don't know anything about Star Wars.
I don't know. I showed the original trilogy to my daughter. She was 7 at the time when she watched it. She loved those 3. If I showed her, I do really want to like kind of experiment and see what she thinks of Phantom Menace, because I agree that all that Trade Federation stuff is, I feel, boring. As far as like going into that aspect of it, I think a movie might not be the best place for it. Like a TV show probably would be better for getting into that level of in the weeds. Yeah, but again, all right, Chuck. So where do you go here?
Did we sway you at all, or are you still thinking scruffy looking?
I'll go up to mid-chlorian. It's right dead in the middle. It's not terrible, but it's not good.
So here's what I would.
Did I sway you at all, Tim?
I'm not going above Bombad. No.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's definitely not Jedi Master and Wizard.
All right, I'm leaving it at Bombad. We have to move on. I feel like I conceded a lot by dropping it down from Wizard. All right, episode 2, Attack of the Clones. This one's pretty divisive. I
actually have a higher opinion of.
Okay. Really? I think it's the worst of the prequels. It's got 3 very confusing plot lines. The characters, of course, are, George Lucas trying to make people act like human beings, and I mean, just the romance stuff. I know somebody personally who like watches this on Valentine's Day because this is their idea of a romantic movie, and I was like, "Are you out of your mind?"
Christina, please.
I love Attack of the Clones. It is my favorite of all of the movies.
Are you ranking it a Jedi?
Do you think it's a romantic movie?
I do. I don't think it's a romantic movie. I do think it's a romance movie. I would rank it Jedi Master in my rankings of it.
Chuck? Where did you rank it?
Bantha Poodoo. maybe Piece of Sith. No, actually, I have a special movie reserved for Piece of Sith, but Bantha Poodoo I'll go there.
Alex.
I had this mid-chlorian. I don't like it as much as episode 1. I originally had it at scruffy looking because this was my least favorite of the trilogy, but having rewatched them all recently, it is much better than I remember it. The worst parts of it, I think, are like the battle stuff towards the end of the movie. But the part that I forgot about when I was younger watching it, and the part that I think its actual strengths are not the romance, it's the grooming of Anakin by Emperor or Senator Palpatine. That is so well done in this movie, and it's actually really good in the third movie too. But in this movie, like, it's just so well done. Like, I was really riveted by all of those scenes. And when I was a kid, like, those were like boring, get me to the next thing. But having rewatched it recently, I really, really think it's well done.
Maybe I'm biased because the Emperor is my second favorite Star Wars character, but I always find him just across the board enjoyable, no matter what movie we're watching, because even if the plot isn't great or whatever the context is, he just, as an actor, and
He knows how to ham it up.
his voice and everything, like, he's just so satisfying
Yeah.
to watch. And I can second that. I think I'll broaden that to say, like, the political stuff as an adult is a lot more interesting to me.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's so messy, and I feel like without context, in and of itself, it doesn't really quite work on its own. Like, you have to know the bigger story. And I'm not just talking like you had to see Phantom Menace. I mean, like, you had to read some books. There's a famous book that kind of explains how Sidious, how his whole plan fell into place, like how he started out with his Sith master, whatever. There's all this stuff that explains all that to make it make sense. But in and of itself, it's very confusing, I feel like.
I disagree.
As a younger person.
I never read any of the books or anything, and I didn't feel like it was missing anything. And I actually feel you don't even have to watch episode 1 to enjoy 2 because it jumps 10 years ahead.
Yep,
and
it's
pretty much a standalone movie.
Yeah.
I will say the battle scene at the end is really just not interesting. I don't like Dooku as a villain. I think it's hugely wasted potential of Christopher Lee. And I didn't like their sword fight battle at the end. It kind of falls apart towards the end, in my opinion, but everything that's not an action scene, I think, is great in this movie. So that's my final thought.
I agree that the last, like, half hour, whatever that was of the movie, was not great, but I actually would get rid of the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones entirely and just skip to the Clone Wars in general and just make that the prequel movies. I feel like that was the focus. You didn't really need to know any of that stuff. It, like, wasn't really essential. But I don't think that was his point in these stories either. He was talking about how republics fall and dictators take over and stuff like that. So it was like, from that point of view, everything was essential. But just looking at it as a movie,
All right, Tim, I haven't heard your thoughts yet. We got to keep moving.
Yeah, I would probably rank it scruffy looking. Still being kind of generous, but
come with me to the Bantha.
Yeah, I enjoyed elements of it, and I would leave it at that. I enjoyed some elements of it. I mean,
Christina, here's your chance.
That's where I'm at.
I'm willing to put this in mid-chlorian just to balance out the...
So I
didn't hate this movie.
I think Attack of the Clones is sort of misunderstood, and while all of, like, the political stuff is needed, that's not the story that the prequels were, like, trying to tell, right? We're telling the story of Anakin, and what's important in that piece is, like, him falling in love. Like, we have to get children at some point.
It's
the
most awkward part of the
whole
series.
But also, they're two people who have been through, like, extreme trauma. One was a voted queen at, like, 12.
About bad acting, though.
It's not bad acting. Hayden Christensen is great.
He can act.
They did the best they could
bad,
with what they had.
directing for actors. George Lucas shouldn't have directed any of these movies.
No.
That we can all agree on.
I just think, like, looking at all of the other parts of the story, we're just sort of put there to, like, make something more cohesive, and the story that George Lucas is really telling is how Anakin got from point A to point B, and everything everyone else is doing is sort of irrelevant.
I agree. I think Anakin should be the focus of this trilogy, and I think this movie does a lot to set up his downfall. I think we got to drop it in mid-chlorian and move on. Okay.
I'll accept it.
Okay, next up is episode 3, is it Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah.
Well, because I even stuttered over the title, kind of gives you a little hint of how I feel about this movie. I think this is the worst of the trilogy.
I think this is one of the worst of the entire movie, all of the movies.
Yeah, I agree.
I actually think it's my favorite of all the prequel
What?
movies because it gets to the overall point of the prequel movie.
I
Like
guess that's true.
This is where like his point is coming across. I know you said this is about Anakin, and you're absolutely right. But like this is where everything kind of comes to fruition. The Republic falls, Palpatine takes over, Anakin falls to the dark side. Like you could have probably skipped the first two, like I said, jump right to Revenge of the Sith, and you kind of get the gist on Anakin, and like it's still the same point gets made with
I
those
think
two other movies.
one thing that left an extremely bad taste in my mouth still to this day. When did this movie come out?
2005.
Still to this day is the capper with like the end of the movie where Anakin becomes Darth Vader. I think is one of the worst scenes in movie history. Like that is god awful, and I think it really like.
Is it just because of the no or the whole?
That's a big part of it. But yeah, the whole process leading up to it, I feel like was just when you make a movie like that, any prequel, most prequels I think across the board don't work for a lot of different reasons. But with this one, I feel like it was just here's where we have to get to, and then let's just figure out how we get there. With plugging these things in of like, well, he gets his arms chopped off and he gets his legs chopped off and that's how he becomes Darth. Like it just feels shoehorned in to get to where we need to go.
He wraps it up in a neat little bow.
Yeah, and as a movie, I just feel like that doesn't work.
I actually agree with that. I actually would have gotten rid of the whole Vader part because I still feel like it also hurts later in the original trilogy where like it sort of spoils things for kids or for new viewers who start with Phantom Menace and work their way to Return of the Jedi. I feel like they could have left it open-ended in the end of Revenge of the Sith and been like, well, what happened to Anakin? Did he just die? Did he leave him there? And then find out later, like, oh my god, it's that same guy. He did end up surviving. So I agree with you. I think that's a weaker part of the movie.
I do like that point. If they should have left it open-ended, I think that I never even thought of that, but that's a good note.
Yeah.
We'll send that to George,
Thank you.
or I guess Disney now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had this in scruffy looking, and the more I think about it, it might even be lower. The strongest points of this movie are, again, it's the Emperor grooming Anakin's downfall. I like all of those scenes. I think they're really well done. I think it wraps up Anakin's story pretty well, with the exception of what we already talked about. Now the bad parts. The CGI does not age well in this movie. It looks absolutely horrendous. And the action sequences are long and boring. And this movie has a lot of action sequences. Okay, so I'm looking at my notes now. So General Grievous, he's like one of the main bad guys in this movie. Cool idea, horrible execution. He's boring. I think he's one of the stupidest characters.
Good fight
ever.
Scene though. I feel
no,
like
I disagree. The fight scene makes no sense. Go back and watch this movie. The whole thing with him fighting Obi-Wan, plot-wise, makes no sense, and it's bad. That's my thought. So rewatch it.
It is bad.
The opening is boring. The whole first movie, part of this movie is boring. The whole thing with R2 flying and igniting the fire is so dumb.
Yeah.
And then everyone, when they talk about how great this movie is, they talk about, the final duel is the best final duel in Star Wars. It is way too long. There's too much CGI, and it's so boring and not good with Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Okay.
Believe me, it's not good. There's too much CGI. It's over the top. It's ridiculous. I think a better duel is at the end of Return of the Jedi when Luke fights Vader. I think that they should have had it closer to that, where there's more dialogue and there's no dialogue in the whole fight. It's 20 minutes long and it's just set pieces. It's so bad. That's my thought. I might even go lower than scruffy looking. I really didn't like this movie.
I could settle on scruffy looking too. For the
Christina,
record.
please.
I mean, I would put it much higher than that. I do really like this movie. I don't think it's good. I enjoy watching it. The main plot is very rushed. It is definitely just they just needed to fill in some pieces. But I do like how they have the forbidden romance aspect going on. And there's a lot of interpersonal conflict that's going on that I think is interesting. Also, You probably heard me say this. I would watch the C-SPAN version of the Galactic Senate. Like, I think that would be a cool thing to watch. So, like, I like those parts.
Where did you have this ranked? What was your tier?
Well, I had this ranked, like, bomb bad. But I won't put it there if Attack of the Clones is in midichlorian. It should be below.
Below Attack of the Clones?
Yeah.
So would you be okay with scruffy looking, or should it be
Yes.
in the same tier? Okay. I think we're all agreement scruffy looking.
I wouldn't, but that's okay. I would put it.
Let's leave some
I think there are worse movies.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I was about to say. Let's leave some room for things that are far beneath this.
Okay.
Okay, so that is the last of the prequel trilogy. Then we take a couple of years off, and there's an animated show called The Clone Wars, and a movie called The Clone Wars as well. I never watched the show, so I can't really chime in on that. I did see the movie.
Oh, that's...
I didn't see the movie,
Totally.
but I did see some of the TV show.
Okay.
I saw some of it. There was like a baby Jabba, and that's it. I couldn't even tell you what it was from, but
The
there's-
movie or the show?
I don't know.
Oh,
movie.
okay.
You rescue,
Jabba.
yeah, you gotta rescue the
Should we
baby
just move
Jabba.
on from this and just put it in
I
a piece
have
of
watched
Sith?
all of it, and I can say it gets a lot better in season 5.
How
Like,
is
from
the
3 on?
Do you
it gets-
remember the movie though?
Yeah, the movie was
Sick to my
terrible.
stomach.
Oh, this
Movie
is just, I'm sorry. I
This is
didn't
just the
realize you said-
movie.
The movie
Yeah.
is the weakest. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I feel like anytime you have to say like, well,
Just
it's
make it through the first 4
just
seasons.
make it through the first 4
I've
seasons.
heard, but that's true too. Yeah,
And
that
they're
is-
they're
that's-
like 20
they're very
episodes,
long.
right? Like,
A season, yeah.
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 The show does
But I
get
swear
a
to
lot
God,
better.
it's
That's
so good.
egregious. I'm putting this in piece of Sith. We're moving on. Okay, we take even a longer break. Disney buys Star Wars, and we get Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Who wants to start with this?
I do
Okay, go
really
for it.
enjoy this movie. I would rank it at Wizard, but I could see it going lower. But they did some good marketing. Maybe it's more the marketing, which I think the marketing with a lot of these movies was great. I still remember the original trailer for Phantom Menace and being so hyped for it. Going to see a terrible movie just for that movie trailer, because that was kind of right at the beginning of the internet, so you couldn't really see it. I think they did the same thing with Force Awakens. Force Awakens, great marketing, pretty good movie. I think it's a solid movie that has excellent moments. Yes, it's a rehash of a lot of Star Wars beats, New Hope beats, but visually, J.J. Abrams did great. I think there's pretty good acting all around in it too.
I agree 100% with all of that, but I don't rank it as high as Wizard. I was actually still going to put it around like scruffy looking. Yeah. I think the rehashing, at the time I completely understood coming out of the prequels, especially after everything we just discussed, and knowing how the fan base was at the time. I completely understand Disney's decision to just reboot the original one and just kind of harken back to that beat for beat. But it didn't stand out on its own, like, because it was in the shadow of A New Hope. Like, nothing really felt fresh about, like, the characters were physically different, but they were essentially Luke and Vader and Han and all those people again. So that I think hurt it too. So it just ended up getting like an okay for me, like right in the middle.
I would also rank this Wizard. I have seen the Force Awakens probably as much as any of the other ones, which is not true of the rest of that trilogy. I enjoyed all of the characters. I liked that it was matching A New Hope beat for beat, because I thought maybe they would do something more interesting with it.
It's definitely a very safe movie.
Yeah, and like, it's fine. Like, time is a circle, whatever. Like, we're going to repeat the same mistakes over and over again. I understood why they did it. I love all of the characters, and I think it's very enjoyable to watch.
I agree.
And
I agree with that.
And they killed Han Solo. I mean, that's a pretty big risk.
I have to admit, I wasn't emotional about that. I would have been if they had done it differently, but just I saw it coming from a mile away, and I was just like, okay, he's dead.
Yeah. But I think that's risky, though. Kind of.
Killing him?
I think so.
I guess just because I saw it coming, it's hard to...
Yeah.
I mean, did Harrison Ford really give them much of a choice, though?
Yeah, he told them, I'm out.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Alex, where do you fall?
I had this at scruffy looking. This movie, is all style, no substance, in my opinion. They were so afraid of the criticism they got from the prequels that they took no risks with this movie at all.
They let a woman be the main character.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah, she's not my favorite, most well-read.
I think out of the 3 of this trilogy, I think this is her best performance and just best for her character out of the 3.
I'm sure the fans.
That's my opinion, though. But
I thought Rey was fine. Okay, here are my criticisms. I had originally like a page and a half of notes for this movie, so I'll try to go quickly through this. I think Luke's downfall needed to be fleshed out a little bit more. I think it just came out of nowhere, and
like his disappearance, you mean?
Yeah. This movie had hardly any original ideas. It, like you said, it's a beat for beat remake of 4, which I think is a huge knock against it. Like this, at least the prequels like took a swing. Like this movie really does nothing. I hate the New Order. It's not explained at all. You're probably going to say, oh, you just have to read these 6 books. And that's not an excuse. It's the worst.
I would say
the worst plot device
for this trilogy. Plot holes are its biggest. Like where the prequels kind of tried to fill everything in with plot. This has the biggest. This series has the biggest plot hole problem.
They were trying to create a world and like leave questions open, but then all of the upheaval and then using 2 movies for 2 directors to have a little bit of like a fight about what Star Wars should be
it's pretty
ruined
ridiculous.
everything that they tried to like set up.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about Rey. I think Rey I think the actor did a great job, but again, plot holes. Like she learns she has the Force, and then 2 minutes later she's using Jedi mind tricks. Like she didn't even know that existed, and let alone in the other movies we'll get to. Like this movie creates so many plot holes, and it just makes me want to have a brain aneurysm. It's just trying to do the gymnastics to like get through this movie.
Can I just say really quick, a lot of people have made that complaint about her with the Force powers, and because it's beat for beat like A New Hope, Luke did that stuff too. Like he nails the shot into the Death Star because he uses the Force when he had very little training to begin with. And
that's over the course of a whole movie. Like this is literally like 5 minutes of screen time. She's doing Jedi mind tricks. Like this is
toward the end. I thought I don't remember in the beginning. When did she do a Jedi mind trick in the beginning? Let's watch the movie right now. Let's recap it.
In this movie, the action sequences are well done. The production's really good. It looks good. The acting's fine, but the dialogue does not get a pass. I don't think it's that much better than the prequels, to be honest. There are some very cringy lines in this movie.
I do think you have to give this movie props for doing a big service to just movies in general of like going more into physical effects, because I think you could see this and probably Lord of the Rings, but really this is one of the bigger movies that actually did a lot for costumes being... It basically took what the prequels did and said, we're going to do the opposite of that and make it way more physical so that you feel like it's an actual place and not like you were talking about with Revenge of the Sith, how bad that holds up. Yeah. I think this movie, at least the visuals of it, will hold up probably forever.
I agree. It looks great. So what did everybody... You had it wizard, and scruffy looking. I'm going to drop this at mid and we're going to move on. Okay. This movie.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Okay, next up. In the next year, actually, we had our first standalone Star Wars movie, Rogue One. I'll just go into it. I think this movie's brilliant. I put it in wizard. My only criticisms I had with this movie on a rewatch were really downplayed. I didn't think they stood out as much as they did when I first watched this. But I think its strengths, I think the plot, the dialogue, everything, it looks, I think, the best of any Star Wars movie. I really liked it. I think the director hasn't Directors, yeah. There's like 30 assistant directors on this movie.
Well, that was one thing where the directors changed midway through the movie, I believe. To me, this movie, I wanted to like it a lot more than I did because I think the plot holes are really bad in this movie, and there's just so much jumping around. And again, I would really say that's probably because they shifted directors mid-movie. And which is funny too, because we'll get into the TV shows, but one of the writers of this movie wrote the Andor series, which I love. And this does take a much more serious look at Star Wars and a much more adult look at Star Wars. I mean, the ending, to me, I hate the ending because I feel like it's a bummer and I didn't want that from a Star Wars movie. But I get it was a big risk doing that. I just left the movie kind of just bummed out. Like, I didn't want that from a Star Wars movie. Because that, Christina, you were talking about like what you want from a Star Wars movie. You want it to be really fun. Because there can be a difference between a movie of Star Wars and a TV show of Star Wars like Andor, where it takes it extremely seriously, and there's a niche for that. But I feel like when you go movie Star Wars, it's popcorn. You kind of want to have fun, and from the ending, I did not get that. So for me, this would probably be like Scruffy.
I just want to say one quick thing before Christina jump in. I loved the ending, and my note for the ending was, ending with Vader is dope sauce.
I hated that. That was I disagree on that. And digital Leia is terrible.
I would also place this one in Wizard. I really like it. I think another movie with a female main character, but Jyn is very different. She's sort of quiet and stoic, and she's not like loud in any way. She just sort of exists in a world, and when she says things, like, they hold a little bit of a heavier weight, I think, and I think it's different from all of the other Star Wars movies.
You don't see that many female characters, especially in Star Wars. Well, maybe not so much in Star Wars.
But there's only like 5 of them.
Yeah.
But so it was fun. I really liked seeing like a different side of women in the rebellion. I also really like Andor, and this movie sort of sets that up, but it also shows like the real costs of the rebellion and stuff. Like, I don't think that the other movies at all ever really get into like the people cost of like fighting a fascist regime. Like, it's a lot. And also the cost of like providing hope to an entire galaxy. And sometimes it's people, and it's not all fun. So I actually really enjoyed it.
I lean more in the direction that Tim was saying. I really wanted to like this movie, but ultimately I think it is a pretty bad one. I love the idea of showing how the Death Star plans were obtained. I don't think that any of the characters are very interesting. I think all of them are uninteresting, and when they all, spoiler, die at the end, I really didn't care. I don't know what you could really do about the ending, because like that's just the way it's gotta be. You know, like they couldn't have survived that and made it out. I don't know. I would have personally put them in the hallway with Vader, got rid of all those rebels and put them there, had them all cut up. But I think it was very overcomplicated. I know the formula is that we have to visit multiple locations, and there's a lot of excitement in that. I feel like they could have done something a little simpler and had something more like a Mission Impossible or something, where like it's maybe one location and they have to do like a heist situation. I feel like one of the biggest offenses that I noticed that didn't get mentioned is there's a lot of fan service in this movie.
Yeah.
There are a ton of references to things, and sometimes, like Star Destroyers or whatever, like that's fine, it has to be in the movie. But for the time that it took them to show references like the guy who gets his arm cut off in the cantina just happened to be on the other planet when they walk by him on the street. Like, those are moments that I feel like they could have fleshed out the characters more and gotten to know them better. And I don't think we got any time with these characters in a way that we connected with them emotionally, except maybe for Jyn. But I also didn't really care for her story either. So I put it also at scruffy looking there too. Sorry.
You don't have to apologize to me.
So sorry.
I think, okay, I really like this movie. I don't know if I already said that. I had it at Wizard. I think the CGI doesn't age particularly well, especially like the face like recreation stuff with Leia and General Tarkin.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't look very good looking back on it even now. I disagree. I think the characters had some weight. I actually cared. Like, even like the people who had no dialogue, like the just random rebel people, like when they died, I was like, oh no, that's one less person to storm the base. Like, this movie had some weight to it, which I liked. That said, it's the least funniest Star Wars movie, but I don't care. That's not why I watch Star Wars
IG is like one of the better droids.
Absolute best, maybe the best droid. He's so cool and funny.
He is good. I did.
I think L3 might be the best droid, but we'll get to that when we talk about Solo.
I also really appreciated in this movie how they showed a planet that wasn't a desert. Like, thank you.
I think that
There was still sand.
this was a great.
But there was at least a palm tree. Like, give me something.
Visually, it's a pretty impressive movie. I think, as far as locations, this scene, just all the different scenarios. I do really enjoy that. For me, this movie just comes down to plot holes and how so many things are just left unexplained. And I think that's just
How's that a plot hole? I can't even leaving things unexplained. How does that?
not
create a
that.
plot hole?
It's just there are things that happen in this movie that make no sense. That are just there's a lot of jumpiness to this movie. I feel like that it just doesn't. The editing's not great. I think a big part of it is the editing is just not good. That's my opinion. I think it could have been so much better. Maybe if they had one director on it the whole time, or it just feels choppy.
All right, where are we going to put this so we can move on? I had it at Wizard. Christina, where did you have it at?
Wizard.
And then two scruffy lookings. I really think you're wrong. This movie's great. Mid?
I'll say it's one of the better of the Disney films.
Oh, it's the best Disney film. Let's not kid ourselves.
I think I'd rather watch Force Awakens, even though.
I would probably same.
But they're right next to each other, so that's fair.
All right, I'm going to put it at mid so we can move on. All right, next up, Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Probably the most divisive of any Star Wars movie.
Yeah, you got a lot of notes there, pal.
This is one of the worst movies. If I had to rank them, this might be at the bottom or second to the bottom. I hate this movie. Talk about plot hole. Like, this movie is just rudderless. Yeah, oh God, I don't even know where to start because I have a page of notes here. This all comes down to just poor leadership from Disney. Like, what's his name who did Force Awakens? J.J. Abrams had one idea for where the trilogy should go. Then Rian Johnson takes over for this movie, takes it in a completely different direction, and thereby derails the entire trilogy, creates so many problems, sidelines Poe, creates the Rose character that is terrible. Sorry, she adds nothing and is... within her one episode arc creates a lot of plot holes for herself. Her sister dies for the rebellion, then she sabotages the entire rebellion at the end by trying to save Poe. Egregious, horrible writing, horrible writing. The Knights of Ren, they are mentioned and never shown. The best part of this entire movie is the fight at the end with Kylo and Rey when they fight the Red Guards. Other than that, I hate this movie. I have more notes. Let me look over my notes. Try to dissuade me. Somebody.
Well, Christina, what do you think?
I like this movie. I do think that some of the characterization is wild. Like, I think I rewatched this over the weekend and I was just like disheartened by like Luke's arc in this. Like, it just seemed so out of nowhere, and like I don't think they do a good job explaining it. I do think that this has a lot more trying to go for a lot more of the humor. Like, there were a lot more funny parts in it that were very obvious that I don't think was necessarily in The Force Awakens, which did have some humor, but not like this. I will say it's incredibly cringy, and I think that the whole movie is, I think this is true of Rise of Skywalker too, is that they're just kind of going by the rule of cool. It was just like, what would be really cool to do right now? And then they just do that thing. Everything with like Holdo and like Leia using the Force to come out of dying
Turning
in deep
into Superwoman.
space.
I think that's one of my least favorite moments in any Star Wars movie ever.
And I do think Rose's entire plot line is to stop people from shipping Poe and Finn. Like, she serves no other purpose in the entire series than to stop people from trying to
and that would have been
happen.
actually interesting.
Yes. And they continue trying to do very weird and like obvious shoehorning of characters for that same reason in Rise of Skywalker. But I do like Rose.
I'm not a Rose hater. I think she could have been a really interesting character if they did something with her in what's the third movie?
Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker. I think they really could have done something with her character. I appreciate her just being there and like actually being a different character that's doesn't have any affiliation with anything from the past. She's just a brand new character. I think that's good.
She only gets a 1-episode arc because the fan base hated her so much.
And this is
because she's
really,
a woman and a person of color.
I want to be clear, that's not why I don't
They
like her.
harassed her into, becoming a hermit. And then Disney was like, well, we can't really do anything with this now.
Yeah. I have complicated feelings kind of with this movie. I think it's definitely low on my list. I don't think it ranks up anywhere above Scruffy Looking. But Rian Johnson, I appreciate that he tried to do something different. Cool. You tried to do something different.
Well, cool.
Did you have to really change every single plot point that came up in the movie before it? No. And they took risks. But they were not good risks. They didn't pan out. They were bad risks. And I mean, I could get into a whole discussion about his other movies that I think are critically. I feel like critics like this movie because of him a lot more than they probably should like this movie. And yeah, the plot holes in this movie are really terrible too. And yeah, I would rank it pretty low.
I think it's for the reasons you said that the critics like it. They appreciate the work behind the movie, the attempt, and then there's the fan base who doesn't appreciate. They have the expectation of what they wanted after the Force Awakens,
and you gotta
especially
meet somewhere
Luke.
in the middle. Like,
yeah,
you don't want everything to be because the last movie is just completely fan service, top to bottom fan service, and this is like, well, here's the opposite of that. Well, you could go somewhere in the middle and have an actually decent movie, but neither of them chose to do that.
Do we actually have a problem with the way Luke died, or is it just
I actually like that.
The whole arc leading up to it?
It was the whole arc leading up to it. It was just like he was so like cynical and like done with the world, and I don't know that they like.
It seemed more like it was about subverting our expectations than it was actually thinking about his
and
character.
there was also like no like lead up to it. Like they tell you why it happens, but also like we don't really see it. It's like, oh no, he made a boo-boo, so he ran off to an island.
Yeah, I do think though his death and the fake out with Kylo Ren, that was one of my favorite moments in that movie. I think that was a great moment.
I agree. I think a lot of people also were really hoping that he'd actually make a physical appearance there and like wave a hand and knock all those AT-AT walkers down and just like
Super
really
Jedi.
they wanted him to be like Superman.
Too much.
Yeah, it would have been. So for him to do that and like you challenge him with a level of the Force that no one's done before, like that, I think demonstrates his power.
When you have the actual actor Mark Hamill saying at the time, like, I don't think this character would ever do this stuff, but he has to be like, well, but I'm not the director.
I will say, having read some of the Star Wars books, whenever Luke is in them, I find that every author has the hardest time like really finding his character.
Now we're talking the books throughout.
Yeah.
Okay.
The old EU.
Yeah, like any time I read one, it would be like nobody really knew what to do with Luke, and they would sort of like.
Well, there was Mara Jade.
Well, yeah, but even in those books, they just like they didn't really know what to do with him, or like there was no concrete like characterization. It was just
where do
like
you go with that character?
like Han and Leia's voice, I think, very consistently always come through, and then Luke is just like, well, he's a Jedi. That's all he needs to be. We don't need anything else from him.
Okay. Instead of me just going through my list of problems with this movie, let's just rank this and move on. I think we should drop it in Scruffy Looking. Does anyone have any?
100%.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, I had it lower than that. So
me
this
too.
is
I would probably put it lower too. Really.
I think there's still worse.
Let's go on. All right, so after The Last Jedi, we take another break from the sequel trilogy, and we have a solo Star Wars movie called Solo, which is Han Solo's backstory. I rewatched this again recently, like I did all the movies. When I saw it in the theaters, I didn't hate it, and now I do.
I agree. When I saw it in theaters, I was like, oh, this is like a fun Western. And then I also rewatched it, and I was like, this is not a fun anything.
Mm-hmm.
This one felt like there were a lot of, they had like a checklist of all the things they had to show. Like, where does he come from?
Lots
How did
of
he meet
fan
Chewbacca?
service.
How did he do the Kessel Run?
I mean, just coming up with like, well, here's my name. Like, did you need to do that?
That was so stupid. And like, he literally walks up to the Imperial booth and they're actually playing the Imperial March. That's like a minor...
I
that's not supposed to
do
be
think this
universe.
movie's... I do like this movie, even despite the dumb fan service parts of it. Like, I actually like it more than anything in Scruffy looking. Like, it's higher up for me, but I'm solo in this discussion, I think.
I have rewatched it twice, and I do think they get the fun part down still.
Yeah.
It's still fun to watch, but I think it's just him. I don't think he did a good job as Han Solo. Aside from the fact that he doesn't look like him at all, I just don't think he really got the personality down that well. I think they overcomplicated the story again by...
And it's another movie where the director changed mid-movie, because this was Lord and Miller were directing this, I think, and then they booted them out and changed the directors, and you're never gonna have a good movie when you do that.
It seemed like, again, they could have simplified the movie and just...
What's that?
Except for Rogue One. It's the one exception.
Sure.
It seems like they could have simplified it, though, and just, like, whatever that checklist was, just, like, do one part of the story. How he met Chewbacca, that's fine, or that. I'm actually surprised they didn't get Boba Fett into this movie. I thought they were going to totally end with the grudge and be like, this is why he chases after him.
Good point.
So yeah, I put it under Scruffy looking. It's just okay.
Christina.
I would put it under Bantha Poodoo.
Me too.
I mean,
I would agree.
there
Even though
were
I like this
good
movie,
characters. Like I liked L3, one with the droid that was there who was like fighting for liberation.
Yeah.
Like I thought that there was like interesting parts of it, but also this was one where again they expect you to have knowledge of the entire universe, and they just like drop Darth Maul in there, and like in no other, as far as we know at this point in the movies, he's dead. And it's just like, here he is. He's not dead, actually. And then we get no explanation, no follow-up. Like, that's it. It's done. You don't need to know anything.
I think this would be part of just a continuing trend, though, with anything Star Wars that's come out since, of just like loaded with every piece of fan service, explaining every single little one line of dialogue from the original movies that you can do. Put it in, someone will get it.
Yeah.
I think they also anticipated a sequel, also.
Probably.
They were definitely going
Yeah.
for a sequel there.
Yeah.
That I had that note, and I was going to bring it up for like later on when we talk about the shows, because I think that is going to be a major problem with Star Wars going forward, where they're going to expect that you watch 5 seasons of The Mandalorian and all these shows to know what's going on in the movie. But getting back to Solo, I think Lando Calrissian, Donald Glover.
That's Donald Glover.
Donald Glover. He's great. I liked his character. He's charming.
Yeah.
But everything else is bad. The plot is boring.
I mean,
the
clearly
jokes are bad. The dialogue.
He was the best part because they're making a TV show just
Well, yeah.
with him as Lando Calrissian.
But Donald Glover is just like naturally like
Sure.
charming and
Yeah.
interesting to watch. Like,
The best thing this movie did was cast him.
yes.
There's the beginning of the movie, Woody Harrelson's like wife dies, and the next scene, it's like he couldn't care less. It's just the dialogue and the writing in this movie is so bad.
I mean, they do that to Leia too, right? Her entire planet gets obliterated, and then she has to soothe everybody else in the... They just don't like showing people be sad.
Checkmate, Alex.
The worst part of this movie is it just didn't need to be made at all. Like, it ruins Han Solo's in the original trilogy. It's like, now that I know his backstory, like I care
I would
about
disagree
him less.
with that. I would say like you can just skip the movie entirely and never. And a lot of people.
It has like no ramifications for the wider
Right.
universe.
All right, let's stop talking about this movie. I'm putting it in Bantha Poodoo and we're moving on.
That's generous.
And that's generous, I think. Okay, so now Disney releases their first show under the Star Wars umbrella, The Mandalorian. It comes out the same year as the Rise of Skywalker, but it came out just before it. So that's why we're doing it next. The Mandalorian, Season 3 just ended. I think we've all seen Season 3 here at this table. When this show came out, I thought it was okay, and it's gotten way worse since then. At this point in time, I have it under Bantha Poodoo. That's how I think Season 3 was...
This is hard, though, because we're ranking it... If we're ranking it chronologically, that first season I feel like was really well done. Yeah. But I would also
we got to talk about it as its entire.
I would also agree that it's perpetually gotten worse. Bantha Poodoo, maybe I would probably put it scruffy looking, but this third season I really did not enjoy.
Yeah, I think scruffy looking is fine. Like, balances out the greatness with all of the not so greatness.
I originally had it under bomb bad, but I will say season 3 just changed
really brought it down.
Yeah, that hurt it a lot.
Season 2 was actually really good. I did really enjoy season 2, actually.
I think
this third one, oof.
You also had to watch an entirely different show to understand.
Speaking of which, with what,
But let's stick to the Mandalorian. I think I liked the Western kind of vibe that it was giving out in the first season.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just started having too many cameos coming in, and it just fell apart. Grogu never developed as a character, in my opinion. And the Mandalorian himself, I don't care. I don't care about the main character because he has no personality and no arc.
Again, he kind of did in that first season, though. Was that the one where he took off his helmet, or was that the second season?
Both, but the first time was at the end of the first season.
At the end, right? Yeah, I feel like he had a personality and then he didn't. And I mean, one of the things, it just seems like the actor that does his voice, he's not actually there. Like, I think he's just doing voiceover. He has nothing to do with the actual, like. Is
that true, really?
Yeah. I do believe that Pedro Pascal got into a fight with Disney and said some things, and they were like, well, fine, then you don't have to do it anymore, except you do, just be the voice, please.
The voice. Yeah, but I would say that the personality as a main character, which is why probably with the third season, he really wasn't the main character at all. It was the Bo-Katan. The other, she's not really a Mandalorian. What is she? She's just a...
She was
a Mandalorian, but...
Gotta watch Clone Wars.
No, thank you. But... yeah, I would say that it's really gone down. I mean, I would say scruffy looking. As far as the TV shows go.
That's a painful one for me to go down 2 blocks. But I don't know.
Where did you rank it, Christine?
Scruffy looking, I think.
All right, let's leave it in scruffy looking.
Fine.
The final say.
Yeah, this is a canon. Now this is official. We're sending these notes right to Disney, by the way. Okay, next up after the season 1 of The Mandalorian is the final film in the sequel trilogy, Rise of Skywalker. This is J.J. Abrams takes the reins back from Rian Johnson to wrap up the sequel trilogy, and in so doing, makes the worst Star Wars movie of all 9, or of all 11, rather.
I said I have one reserved for Piece of Sith, and this is the one. I think, in light of everything we've discussed and the back and forth that Disney and the fans and the directors all had, I think this movie is the culmination of all that fighting and all that disagreement, and nobody won in the end. It was just awful from the moment it started.
Is there anything redeeming about this movie?
Palpatine himself, like I said, his voice, his acting.
My note is that there's a very high ratio of small boys. So you have Babu Frick, you have the new droid, Dio.
Who is Dio?
Dio's the droid with anxiety.
I do have an appreciation for Palpatine in the original trilogy. In this, I feel like, why would you even...
Oh, I agree. The logic
is nowhere to be found, and that was just kind of infuriating for me. But I am really trying to think of, like, what is the one thing that... There's got to be something that I like about this movie. I can't think of it. I haven't watched it since it came out in theaters, though, so... I can't. Do you have anything, Alex, that was good about this movie?
10 points of things I hate about this movie, and not a single one.
But I think that's more like, what is there anything that was actually good about this movie that was interesting?
You can't just enjoy Palpatine for it. Like, I still occasionally will walk around and say stupid lines that he says from the movie just because he's satisfying.
I do. Oh, I was gonna say I have one redeeming thing is that I don't like Kylo Ren. I think he's awful.
They ruined his
but you could definitely trace like the lineage of Skywalker whininess right through to him. And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I guess the fight scene on the rock with the splashing with the big waves, that was kind of interesting for me. I kind of liked it, but
I
I
guess
don't know. There's not much.
the idea of the Sith Eternal and the Final Order and like that, like just the name and the idea behind it, I guess I could appreciate that, but the context, it ruined them completely.
Yeah.
So I like going into that little cultist room where they're all standing there and they're doing the little monk chants and stuff. that amuses me. But in and of themselves, they're bad. So
Yeah.
the Knights of Ren were stupid. They
That-
still didn't really
never
explain them that well.
explained.
They're just basically his
I thought
henchmen.
The dialogue in this was also probably even worse than anything in the prequel trilogies. Like at one point when Rey and Kylo Ren are doing like that weird like Force phone call that they do, he just like calls her up and he's just like, Palpatine wants you dead. Like imagine someone calling you and you pick up and they're just like, someone wants you dead. It's like, what is this? Who has conversations like this?
Yeah.
To be fair, your favorite movie, Attack of the Clones, has the whole sand thing.
Yes.
That's a pretty...
I agree.
That's really bad.
I don't think I
With
would
the
talk to a
sand.
human being who says that stuff to me. I'd walk away.
I hate sand.
It's cool. It's rough.
Do we want to go more, like, bash this movie even more? Or should we
he's
just
a
move on?
Sith.
It's pretty universal how bad this movie is, right?
Oh, I did like, there was also a Lando Calrissian cameo in this one. And he does...
Okay, yes.
He does tell everyone that his friends are his power, which is a connection to Kingdom Hearts.
Oh.
Well, there's one positive thing.
For
There's
me.
also that girl who says she was kidnapped by the First Order and she'd be like befriends Finn, and then it turns out that was his daughter that he lost, and like that is never.
Wasn't that going to be a spin-off show or something?
Or
I hope
or
not.
it was a cut scene or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, that was
Well,
so
they-
out of left
they do-
field,
they-
among many other things.
They share like a knowing look.
Right.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there was just and then the horses, like the quote unquote
Riding
horses
on Star
on
Destroyers.
a Star Destroyer. Wow, this movie's bad.
And this
Yes,
is the one where they
please.
also advertised like the first LGBTQ Star Wars characters, and then it was just
In the background.
a small background kiss as they actively spent time trying to give Poe a love interest that wasn't the one that seemed to have been set up in the first movie.
Where do they find the courage to be such allies?
Oh, boy.
So, Piece of Sith.
This is
Sith.
Piece of Sith. This is the worst of all of them. Okay, next up. Ooh.
Or I don't know. I would
Okay, next up is Book of Boba Fett. This is another series. Hopefully, it was just a one-off mini-series. Disney Plus, telling the story that no one was asking for. What happened to Boba Fett?
Everyone wanted it.
I only have 2 notes for this movie. More Mandalorians. No one asked for this. Boba Fett died. This is the end. And my second note was the teen gang. Does anyone remember that cyberpunky teen gang in this? It is the worst costume and the
I don't
worst
know.
thing I've ever
The
seen in Star
pirates
Wars.
in season 3 of Mandalorian were pretty awful. Like here's
You like
This
the
is
captain
Davy.
with
That's
the
Davy
seaweed
Jones.
beard?
He's just Davy Jones.
Wow, but he was so fun. I liked him. I liked him more than the teenagers on bikes.
Okay.
That was pretty bad. They were very uninspired.
I only watched one episode of the Book of Boba
yeah,
Fett, and
I watched most of it, but I didn't watch the last 2 episodes, and I still think it might be better than Piece of Sith, but not by much.
I actually agree. I think
I
it's
had it in
Bantha
Bantha Poodoo.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fine.
Let's drop
I think the first couple of episodes are pretty, like the whole setup, him getting out of the pit, his time with the Tusken Raiders was really interesting. But then when he
That was interesting.
starts to become involved with the Pikes and the town and the team,
It's worse and worse.
It just gets so over the top.
Okay. We put it in Bantha Poodoo, and we're moving on.
Moving on. Yeah.
Okay, next up is Obi-Wan, the show on Disney Plus. So when this originally came out, it made me very upset because it created more plot holes and just told a story that no one was asking for. On a rewatch, I didn't hate it. I had this at mid-chlorian, and my one thought about this show, or my main thought about the show is if they had done this as a movie, it would have been wizard level A-tier movie.
Which originally it was supposed to be.
And they also did like a major rewrite because it was too sad.
See, I would have
That's
been okay with Too Sad
great
for
idea.
Obi-Wan because it's a sad story.
Yeah, it is. I think that's too high of a rating for me. I put it under Bantha Poodoo. I remember just right off the bat when they first showed him at the Comic-Con, wherever they were, and they said they're going to do the showdown of the century. They do not fight again until A New Hope. I am a defender of that. It is Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, and that is it. There's no rematch.
I would agree with
That's
that.
ridiculous.
I would agree with that too. Although I did enjoy that fight, though. I thought it was a pretty decent fight scene.
Yeah.
But I think it did pick up, the story picked up some steam by the end of the last few episodes. I wouldn't put it above Scruffy.
You're saying the fight scene was good. I think it was sad, which I approve of the sadness, but when they break his helmet and everything, that was done already in a previous show, which we actually skipped, Star Wars Rebels. I'm surprised we didn't talk about that.
I think,
which is pretty good.
That's a really good show. With the occasional really bad episodes, but I think it's a very good show.
But there's an exact scene with a different character breaking his mask having a whole moment, and that was really sad. And when people were like, "Wow, look how creative this is! Look how sad it is," and I was like, "They did this already. It's very uninspired. It's not great." And
I would put it under mid-chlorian. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. But I don't think I've said this yet, but I love Anakin Skywalker. My friends always joke that, like, if I watch a show and there's a sad boy in it, that's the character that's going to be my favorite. Anakin Skywalker is the biggest sad boy that has ever existed. And I really liked the flashback scenes and just getting to see Hayden Christensen just really bring some angst back into the series.
But now he was only in one episode, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's in the suit.
He's in the suit.
Okay.
They brought him back to do that, but
physically,
it's really Darth
he's
Vader.
just at the end.
Yeah.
And in the beginning when they put the helmet on. Yeah. Right. It's just Darth Vader. There's also Leia. There's that girl with the robot guy. I didn't understand what the point of that whole thing was, but Leia's also really terrible in this.
I would agree with that. I also didn't think the characterization was
somebody else. Oh, that comedian who I can't think of his name. He pretends to be a Jedi for a couple of episodes. He's fine in and of himself, but I was just like,
Bill
what's
Burr.
the point of this?
Right? I think that was Bill Burr.
No, that's a Mandalorian.
They're all blending together.
I forget his name right now.
I think Reva's story and the Inquisitors thing, I thought the Inquisitors was a wasted potential. I think it's a really cool idea, but they didn't flesh it out really well at all, and they all kind of looked inept by the end of the series. I think Reva's character was strong, but the way her story ended...
How did it end? Because I can't remember. Did she die?
Vader squished her, I think.
Last night, I was thinking about Star Wars, and I was like... Because a new Star Wars game is coming out, and the Inquisitors were a part of the first game in this series. And I was like, in The Mandalorian, we keep seeing, like, they're, like, retraining people from the Empire to exist in the New Republic. What happened to all of the Inquisitors? So I'm like online, and like it's just like they vanished.
Yeah,
they're a big part of Star Wars Rebels, actually, too.
Yes,
they're a very big part of it.
Yeah.
A lot of them, spoiler, get eliminated. But I'm glad you brought up Fallen Order because I feel like that antagonist in that game.
Save that for the bonus episode.
Well, just to compare to Reva real quick, she's excellent. That's what should happen. But
good character. Interesting character. I think she definitely buoyed the show more than it probably deserved.
Yeah, going back to my first point, I think if this stayed as a movie, it would have been an A-tier movie for me. And here's how they do it. They cut out the whole Leia stuff. They tighten up Reva's story, and they cut all the side characters they introduced on Tatooine that I don't even remember. I think like Ben's in it too. Like all those characters, they just get rid of all those side characters, all that fluff. And they trim the Obi-Wan being sad at home stuff and focus it more on him and Liam Neeson, Qui-Gon's relationship. I think that would have been interesting. Just tighten up everything. There was a lot of fluff in this show, and it just didn't land.
Yeah, it's a very fan servicey show.
Can we stick it in the scruffy looking and move on? Are we all happy?
That's fine. Yeah.
there is, I'm going to mention this later in depth, but there is a book that covered this exact whole situation and everything you just asked for, and it was an excellent Star Wars book. It came out 10 years ago called Kenobi, and it was excellent.
I think people shouldn't discount the books either, because there's some really quality stories.
And I thought that was what they were going to do with this show, and then they did what they did, and I was like, they made that book look like a masterpiece. So
I'll check that out.
Yeah.
Okay, we are on to our last thing we're going to rank right here, and our list is looking a little bottom heavy right now. So let's end it on a high note with Andor. But we love Star Wars.
I do love Star Wars.
Andor is the most recent show to come out. I'll just say I loved this show. Loved it. I think it's one of the best things Star Wars has contributed to, or Disney at least has contributed to Star Wars.
I think it's definitely the smartest of any Star Wars piece of property out there. And I would say it probably belongs in Jedi Master. or wizard. I'm like maybe somewhere in between. I would love to see where the story goes because it is still very much an unfinished story. But great characters, not afraid to like end things just unanswered as far as like an episode will just end and like, oh, that's the end of the episode. But it serves a purpose and it's very tense show.
Yeah, it's dark, it's tense, the writing is excellent, and I love how it's not what The Mandalorian is doing, where every episode can be a standalone episode where it's very formulaic. It's the opposite. You have to watch the whole season all the way through. And for those who are listening who maybe only watched the first 2 episodes and bounced off because it's slow, it really picks up. Like, it just builds and builds and builds and builds. So by the end of it, I was hooked at this show. Christina, I know you love the show too.
I do.
I have a feeling Chuck doesn't.
On a previous episode of the podcast, said it was the best thing Star Wars ever did. This is one of the like main things that I sort of like in like media is when they're sort of showing you like really like the behind the scenes of like how did we get here? Like it's not all like in the rebellion that we see is sort of like not messy. It's just like it's as messy as like
It's more working at that point though.
Yeah.
It's just watching 2 armies fight one another.
Yeah. Like this is like super messy. You're seeing like again the cost of a real rebellion. You're seeing the real people.
I think they're in like Empire, which is a pretty dark movie. There is a lot of death in that movie of characters that they might be side characters, but they're even in New Hope too. The cost is there as far as like lots of people die. In Jedi too, tons of people die in Jedi, but yeah, this gets more of like all the other things.
Yeah, like but it's not. Yeah, it's not just the cost of people. It's like
yes,
also the breaking point of
your morals.
Yeah, the breaking point of certain people. Like at what point do you stop accepting the status quo and like try to change it? I also love Mon Mothma. I thought that her inclusion in the series was amazing. Yeah. Again, Galactic Senate. C-SPAN.
She's also in Rebels too, right?
She is also in Rebels.
Like just her like trying to like secretly like finance the
she's playing both sides.
Rebellion and also like seeing the sacrifices that she's sort of making. Like I think as the season ends, you see where she like makes a lot of concessions in her personal life to make things in the rebellion go forward.
She's one of the best Star Wars characters.
Yes.
Like flat out. She has depth. She has an arc. Great character. One of my favorites.
She always just gets like dropped in though. She's never like the main focus. Right. She's always just like...
She's showing up in something else, isn't she?
The Ahsoka show. She's a hologram. That's in the trailer.
She's a hologram.
That pretty much summarizes every female character.
But just to be fair, I don't think you could put her at the forefront of everything because you're obviously as a TV show looking to create conflict and you can't put her in too much conflict. Because then she turns to an action hero, especially.
Well, that's why when they make the Galactic Senate C-SPAN show, she will be the star.
I'm right behind you. This is a whole separate conversation, but I do think that the prequels and on have like inspired a generation to care more about politics than the previous generations did in a weird sort of way. He made politics cool, so we all think we're Jedi.
So Mon Mothma is great, but I think the protagonist in this series, Deidre Miro, who's the Empire. Sort of, I don't know what her exact title is, but she's kind of investigating.
They're like the FBI.
She's like an FBI basically agent for the Empire, investigating the rebels and kind of piecing it together. She's a fantastic character, great actor, and this is like the first Star Wars movie or show that makes the Empire seem like competent. Like they seem like a genuine threat in this show, and it adds weight to everything.
I mean, with being like nuance to it because they're
right. They don't just have like a big gun. It's
I was gonna say that's really where they came. I mean, the Emperor in Return of the Jedi has some pretty smart maneuvers,
but one guy can't run an entire government. So.
Right. So this is where
he thinks he can.
Fills all of that in. Yeah. So wait, Chuck, where would you put this?
So I actually agree 100% with everything everyone is saying, but I still did not enjoy this story. This show. I hate to downplay it and make it sound like it's boring, but it was.
I can see it being a little boring.
I think I still would like a more like the fun aspect of Star Wars. I think that should just be more consistent. And I know fun is subjective, but there was nothing really exciting about the show. It was just like watching a drama, and it was just like, okay, okay, whatever.
I get that.
I don't really feel like you said it picks up a lot toward the later half of the show. I think that only happens twice in the entire show, maybe 3 times. The prison escape and the riot and the last episode. Those are the 2 big moments. And the heist. I forgot about the heist.
Yeah.
That was where I kind of...
The end of each mini arc.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. And it's looking... A lot of people said that it's like 3 mini movies in the show. But I also, and this is going back to Rogue One, I don't care about these characters. I don't understand why everyone was so interested in Cassian Andor to begin with. He was so uninteresting then, so it's like, why do we...
I think it would be really cool to have Jyn as the character like she's I think she's an interesting character that should have been fleshed out more.
He might work him in. I mean, Galen Erso is a huge part of the Empire at that point, the father, and he's like part of the construction of the Death Star. They could do that, but I will continue watching the show as it unfolds, but I will never rewatch this show. I don't think I can bring myself.
I do think that's something, though, again, just back to a point that I made earlier, is that Star Wars is kind of popcorn fun.
Yeah.
And you can branch out from it a lot, but at the heart of it, yeah, I think it should be fun.
Yeah. And a lot of 10-year-olds did not like this show. Not that I've spoken to all.
It's not a show for 10-year-olds.
I think now that Disney has it, they're starting to sort of separate out the shows based on like specific demographics. Like they have shows for children now.
There's not on here is the Bad Batch. I don't think you have that here. That's another show that's kind of Clone Wars-esque, where it's like a kids.
They're gonna have Young Jedi Tales come out.
Right. So there's plenty of other shows.
They're starting to sort of branch it out. They just need to not make them all interconnected. Then you can just like watch what you want to watch.
I don't think that's a good decision at all. I think it should, because if everyone can watch the original movies and be content no matter what age you are. And I think that they should just maintain that. Not that they have to make those same movies.
But I think they're going to try to do both. It seems like, because they are coming out with some newer movies that they just announced. So
yeah, we'll see what they do with this.
I hope it comes.
They're just making the same mistakes over and over again by trying to revive the Jedi.
You've got the corporate people who don't have a creative bone in their body making writing decisions.
Like everybody just needs a Jedi school. No, that's the wrong decision.
Although that's what they did. That's what they did in the original canon. So,
and they're going to do it again.
Yeah, right. They just want the full credit for it. That's what
I do enjoy the Jedi though in bits and pieces. They don't need to be the entire focus of a story. They can just pop up here and there. No, and you're fine.
I hear what you're saying, Chuck, about bringing the fun back and keeping it consistent. Yeah. I disagree because look at how much content of Star Wars there is. If they start making everything interconnected and the same, it just gets too formulaic and boring. Your people are going to burn out. I like what they're doing now where they're separating things. If they do another season of Mandalorian, I'm not going to watch it because it's a show for children. It's not for me. It's a show for preteens. It's not, I want Andor. I want darker character-based stuff because that's where I am in my life. If Star Wars doesn't offer that for me anymore, I probably won't continue. Like I like that they're doing new things and exploring new avenues. If they do a C-SPAN with Star Wars, I will watch. I will be the first person in line for that. If they do Andor, but leading up to Episode 1, where they talk about like Disney. That whole stuff, like leading up to the Trade Federation blockade, I will watch that in a heartbeat.
I don't think we talked about this with The Mandalorian, but also I think they do themselves a disservice by using shows to do backdoor pilots of other shows.
Mm-hmm. But to be fair, that's been done going back.
Well, yes, but
since the beginning of time.
Season 2 of The Mandalorian was like 3 different backdoor pilots for 3 different shows.
I agree. It's like not
and it's
good.
Like an 8-episode
It's really
series.
not good
it's
when they
almost
do
half
that.
of it.
Yeah, but I would say that is a television thing going back to...
And also a corporate
TV shows from the 70s
yes.
would do that all the time, and then there would be a whole spin-off. And sometimes it works. Most times, it does not.
It works if you have 23 episodes in a season.
That's a really good point. And when you have 8 to 10 episodes, you should not devote an entire episode to a side character that's going to get their own show. Yeah, I would totally agree with that.
And I do agree with interconnectedness, too. I don't think every show has to be referencing one another and having cameos here and there. I just think that it's I don't know what you would call it, the mood, the fun part of it. The tone. It would I just wish that part maintained the same. They can have completely different, they can do C-SPAN, Star Wars. I'd be watching that too.
But it has to have a Jar Jar senator who adds laughs.
The Gungans should have a representative.
Technically, everything's Jar Jar's fault.
This is a democracy.
For the record, Jar Jar gave him emergency powers.
Which is why he's an important character to the trilogy.
Is really Jar Jar.
This is how Liberty dies, with thunderous applause.
Okay, we have to end this. Yeah.
Because I knew I was going to be in the minority, I'll sell for mid-chlorian, but I feel like it's going to go.
Well, I'm glad that you don't have the mouse right now, because this is going in wizard at the lowest.
Yeah, wizard at the lowest.
I'm cool with that. Yeah.
Wizard?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's good.
We've done it. We've ranked all the Star Wars shows and movies.
The definitive ranking. All others are incorrect.
Correct.
That is right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here for this. This was fun. I'm glad no one stormed out in a rage.
I got close, but
thank you for your patience.
I'm
too.
sorry.
I kept it together.
I'm sorry that I like Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith so much.
All of the prequels. Yes.
Okay, we did it. We'll have to post this somewhere on social media so everyone can see it. But yeah, thank you again for joining me, and
May the Force be with you.